So as I said, my name is Joseph Rebibo. I'm a lawyer in Canada. I specialize in immigration law. It's been several years now. It's been a few years now, probably, that about 95% of our clients are internationals like you, people that want to come to Canada to either study, work, or gain permanent residency in Canada. So the majority of the people that we deal with are international, are people in your situation. You're outside of Canada and you want to come to Canada. So I believe that our law firm is the most apt, the most able to help anybody who's outside of Canada that wants to either come to Canada to either study, work, or gain permanent residency in Canada. This is what we do. This is what we are experienced in, and this is, I believe, we are the best suited to be able to help you to achieve those goals. I wanted to begin, and I actually believe that someone already started asking a question, which is great. I wanted to actually discuss about that question right off the bat, because I think it is the most important thing, because the most talked about issue when it comes to immigration to Canada is regarding scams in Canada. Scams, fraud, immigration agencies, companies, even law firms that are fake law firms or whatever it may be. That this is the most talked about issue when it comes to immigration to Canada, because when you start your process to Canada, you need to be 100% sure that you know who you're dealing with. You need to know that you are dealing with a licensed lawyer. You're dealing with licensed attorneys, consultants, or whatever it may be, that you're able to contact your lawyer at any moment. You're able to speak to your lawyer at any moment, and you're able to obviously be free of any doubt in your mind that the person, the company that you are dealing with is going to help you achieve your goals, is going to help you come to Canada. That is the only way to do it, and I'm going to show you now how you're able to verify this. If you're speaking to someone else, you're speaking to another law firm or a consultant or an agency or a company, at least through this webinar, you'll be able to at least verify that the company or whoever you are talking to, whoever you're dealing with, is licensed, is a registered agent that is able to help you. It is not enough to just be registered. You have to also be able to find this company, know where they are in Canada. If you're in Canada, you have family in Canada, you should send family or friends or whatever it may be to go visit this place to make sure it's not a virtual company and it's just an address that this company uses just to use as an address of their company, that there's someone there, that you're able to visit the place, you're able to see the person that's going to help you, you're able to see all these things, you're able to communicate, contact directly. This is extremely important because, of course, this is a long distance relationship. When it comes to lawyers that are in Canada or consultants or wherever it may be, you are outside of Canada. This is a long distance relationship, so you need to be, without a doubt, completely okay with who you're dealing with, that you know how you're able to contact them, how you're able to get an update on your file, and obviously all the details of your file regarding the steps of how long it's going to take for you to come to Canada, what program or what division or what you're going to be able to use in order for you to come work, study, and eventually, of course, gain permanent residency in Canada. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show, of course, regarding how you're able to choose, how you're able to find your immigration lawyer or consultant in Canada. So, one moment. I will be able to show you this in just a moment. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen now. You're able to see that we are on a website. It's the Bar of Quebec. Okay, all lawyers in Canada are overseen by organizations in Canada to make sure that whatever the lawyer or consultant is doing, or whatever it may be, is doing their job properly. That is why you use lawyers, is because as a lawyer, I am looked over by another association, by a company, by a governmental company that is making sure that the job that we are doing is done properly. So you're putting your trust and, of course, your loyalty and your trust and everything into the law firm that you decide to deal with, but it is important that in the back of your mind, you know that there is a governmental organization that is also overseeing the things that we are doing. And that is why it is extremely important to make sure before you start your process that you're dealing with a registered lawyer, a licensed lawyer. We went to school for over 5 years, went to university. We would not risk our license, which took extremely long time, very large amount of money, and sacrifice and experience in order to become a lawyer. We would not risk that for a client's procedure or whatever it may be. So it's important that you check these things, and I will show you now how you are able to check, how you're able to verify that we are a registered law firm, we are registered lawyers in Canada. So I will share this link as well, but how do you find this? You can go on Google and type in Bar of Quebec, find the lawyer. It should be the first link. I will share the link though on the chat as well, so you're able to do it yourself. But if you go to this link, this is a government website. This is not our website. This is a governmental website, and it is of course independent. So whatever I'm searching now, it is directly from the Bar Association's website. So we're gonna search my name, Rebibo, sorry, I misspelled that. And we're gonna put my first name, Joseph Rebibo, okay. And when you click on search, you're gonna find one result, okay. This is me, Rebibo Joseph, and when you click on my name, you're gonna be able to find all the information about our law firm, about us in general. Okay, so we have here company employer, Joseph Rebibo, Rebibo Legal. That is my law firm's name. If you've been in contact with anybody, usually I believe that if you are on this webinar, you were probably in contact with one of our agents. If you have any questions regarding that agent, then make sure that they are working with us. You can always send me email. I will send out my email also in the chat, so you're able to send me out an email if you have any questions. You want to make sure that that person is well dealing with you and everything, is well working with us. You can always send me out an email. I will respond. Over here, you have all the information. You have our address. Okay, this is a physical office. If you have anybody that wants to come visit the office, family, friends, you may do so. Please let us know before so that we can arrange a meeting. We're not always in the office. We make sure that somebody is in the office when they're able to come, but just let us know before, and there's no issue. We have people coming in every day to make sure that we exist, make sure that we are there. We are in the heart of downtown Montreal, so it's not hard to find us either. You have our phone number, you have our fax number as well, and you have areas, practice areas of law where you see immigration. Okay, so this is very important. I am showing you how to verify us to know that you're dealing with the right person. You know you're dealing with the correct agent, okay, to be able to help you come to Canada, okay, which is very important. Normally, if you're in contact with, if you're being in contact with somebody, usually it could be a company or an agency. You need to understand that the majority of these companies and agencies are scams, are frauds. So it's important to be very vigilant. If a company or an agency works with a lawyer, that could also be fraudulent. You need to be able to contact the lawyer directly. If someone calls you from a company or an agency and says, yes, our company works with this lawyer, it is not good enough, because that company or agency is the ones that is taking your file. They may pass on your file to a lawyer to do the work, but they are the ones that have your file. And unfortunately, a company or an agency is not being overseen by another association or organization to make sure that what they are doing is proper and is legal. So if you decide to engage in a company or agency, you need to make sure that you're going to speak to, before you start, you're going to speak to the lawyer or whoever they're dealing with directly first, and hear what they have to say about this company or agency, that they work with them, that everything's fine, that you're going to be in contact with them directly. Luckily for you, you don't need to go through that step of using a company or agency that will probably charge more money, because they are the middleman. With us, you are dealing directly with a law firm. You are dealing directly with us, which I think is much more advantageous. You know exactly what you're dealing with right off the bat. You're able to contact us right off the bat, and everything is out in the open. You know where we are, our office, and everything. So I think that is the most important thing. Now, I wanted to, as I said in the beginning, if there's some new people that arrived, I wanted to discuss a little bit in general about immigration to Canada, how it works in general, but I wanted to keep a good portion of this webinar for any questions that you may have towards the end. So I'm going to briefly talk a little about immigration. I'm also going to show you something very important that is in regards to jobs in Canada, something very important, because I believe that most people want to come to Canada to find a job. Of course, I will show something that is very important in terms of jobs, and then I will leave open for questions. Please start sending questions in Canada. Please start sending questions in the chat regards to immigration to Canada, whatever questions you may have. And when I finish, I will of course go into the chat. I will read out all the questions and hopefully answer everything to the best of my ability. Just to give a little bit of an overview of immigration to Canada, we have two different types of ways you can come to Canada. The first type of way you come to Canada is coming to Canada temporarily. And the second pathway to immigration to Canada would be coming to Canada directly under a permanent residency program. Of course, within these two ways you can come to Canada, there are over 50 different types of visas or immigration programs that allows you to come to Canada. But the two main ways you can come to Canada are either temporarily or under permanent residency. Our goal as a law firm, our goal is to bring you to Canada, whether it is temporarily or permanently, but of course to give you a plan, to give you a step-by-step plan of how you are going to stay in Canada and get permanent residency in Canada. That is the most important thing. That is why we are here. It's important to understand, and we're going to say this right off the bat, and a lot of companies or agencies are not going to say this, and they're going to tell you you're eligible for permanent residency, and they're going to make all these things up. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, it's extremely important you understand that the majority of people are not eligible for permanent residency right off the bat. It makes sense. Canada does not just give out permanent residency to anybody, people that do not have any experience in Canada. To get permanent residency directly in Canada, you need to have a very specific profile, very high qualifications, or whatever it may be. But that does not mean that you cannot get permanent residency in Canada. Our goal, our job when you hire us is to give you a plan on how you're going to come to Canada temporarily, if that's what you are eligible for, and how you are going to gain permanent residency afterwards. Because as I said, to get permanent residency directly, you need some experience in Canada. So we're going to show you the pathway of how you're going to get experience in Canada, and how this experience in Canada is going to give you either enough points or make you eligible for one of the permanent residency programs that will let you stay and remain in Canada. And of course, as I said, our goal is not for you to come temporarily then leave. Our goal is for you to come to Canada and to have a plan on how you're going to stay in Canada, apply for permanent residency, and get permanent residency in Canada. Just to give a little bit of an overview of temporary resident visas in Canada, we have 3 different types. Okay, within those types, there are a lot of programs that allow you to get these types, but there are 3 different types. The first one is coming to Canada as a visitor. The second one is coming to Canada as a student, and the third one is coming to Canada as a worker. Visitor, of course, might be the least attracting one, because if you're coming to Canada as a visitor, you cannot study, you cannot work. But there are still advantages to coming to Canada as a visitor. If you come to Canada as a visitor, you're able to, while you're in Canada, change your status from visitor to worker or visitor to student in Canada. That means if you come to Canada and you meet up with employers and you find an employer and you speak to them and they're willing to hire you, you could change your status from a visitor to a worker in Canada. So that is possible. So as much as coming to Canada as a visitor might be the least advantageous or least popular immigration pathway, there is still a way for even a visitor to eventually gain permanent residency in Canada. That is for visitor. The second one is coming as a student. Coming as a student in general is probably the best way anybody could come to Canada. The reason is because you are gaining 2 different type of experiences in Canada. You're gaining studies and you're gaining work, because while you're in Canada as a student, you are able to work at the same time as well. So you're gaining work experience and you're gaining educational and diploma experience as well. So it's very important you're able to receive 2 points, 2 different ways to gain points on your permanent residency application. So that is for students. Now, the third way you can come to Canada temporarily is as a worker. There are 2 different types of work permits. You have an open work permit and a closed work permit. A closed work permit, just to explain a little bit of what they are, a closed work permit means that you are coming to Canada to work for a specific employer for a minimum of 2 years to a maximum of 3 years. A closed work permit means that you found an employer, you found a job, an employer that wants to hire you. Once you find an employer that wants to hire you, you are being brought into Canada by this employer, and you are being paid and looked over for this employer. That means that you can only work for this employer. You cannot work for someone else. You cannot change jobs or work for 2 or 3 different types of jobs, but you are stuck with this employer. The advantage of this, obviously the disadvantage is that you can only work for this employer. You cannot do something else. But the advantage is that if you get a job offer, you are able to get a very high amount of points in order to apply for permanent residency under the Express Entry program. So that is one way. The other work permit that you're able to get is an open work permit. An open work permit is obviously more advantageous. It lets you work for whoever you want. You could work for 2 or 3 different employers at the same time. You could change jobs. You can stop working for one, continue working for another one right after. You can really do whatever you like. You are open to work for whoever. When you start your process, if you are dealing with one of our agents, one of our colleagues, or whoever it may be, you can start your process and ask. Obviously, we will explain to you how you're able to get an open work permit, how you're able to get a closed work permit, how you're able to come to Canada as a student, which, as I said, is the best way to get permanent residency as soon as possible, because you are gaining both studies and work experience at the same time. And as a student, it also allows you to get a post-diploma work permit in order to gain full-time work experience after your studies as well. This is a little bit of an overview, okay? Something very important that I wanted to just dive into before we get into some questions. As I said, please start asking questions in the chat. Right when I finish, I will get into all the questions and hopefully answer everything. One thing I wanted to get into is just regarding jobs in Canada, a little bit of how I can help you in order to navigate and understand what the job perspectives in Canada are. So I'm going to share my screen again with everyone. One moment. Okay, so I just shared my screen. I'm going to share the link to this website as well. But currently we are on a governmental website. It's called the jobbank.gc.ca. Okay, the Job Bank is a Government of Canada website run by Statistics Canada that is here to give you all the information you need, whether it's descriptions, salaries, job opportunities, or whatever it may be on jobs in Canada. Okay, I will share this link also in the chat so you're able to look for yourself, but it is important to be able to see that if you are working in something specific, in your country of residence, wherever it may be, whether it's in Japan or Australia or in the UK, in Ireland, in Malta, wherever it may be, it is important to see that whatever you have experiences, that means you're able to contribute to Canadian society, to be able to see what type of demand there is in Canada. Okay? So if we're able to go, this is not our website, this is the Government of Canada's website. If I go to job title, I'll take for an example, if you want me to choose something specific, you can write it in the chat, but let's just try truck driver, for example. Okay, we're gonna choose truck driver. We're gonna click search. Okay, and we are going to get a lot of different information here. It's very important, okay? So if we go to description, you have over here job duties, description, transfer truck drivers, drive straight trucks or tractor trailers to transport freight. Okay, you have the whole description about the job in Canada. This is very important. Then you have job duties as well. Okay, you have all the information, job duties, you have related job titles, you have all the information you need. Something that's very important, if you go to wages, for example, if you go to wages, you're able to see the minimum, average and high wages that are paid out for this type of job. So all of these are different provinces in Canada. So different sections in Canada, different areas in Canada where this job could be available for you. So if we go, for example, to Quebec, because we are in the province of Quebec, the low wage is $17 an hour. That's if you have no experience as a truck driver. The medium wage is $24 an hour, and you can make also almost $31 per hour as a truck driver. If we go to over here, prospects, okay? Prospects, again, this is from Statistics Canada. If we go to prospects, you're able to see the job opportunities over the next 3 years, okay? This was updated only a few months ago, which is great. Okay, you're able to go to every province. You're able to see Alberta, the prospects are good. British Columbia, they're good. You're able to see that every province, which provinces are very good or good. In Ontario and Prince Edward Island, you have very good employment prospects as a truck driver. So it's important if you have a specific job that you are working in your country of residence, it is important to take that job, look at what the perspectives are in Canada. Make sure that whatever job you are doing in your country, you have some opportunities in Canada. This is very important so that when you come to Canada, you know that there's an availability, there is a lack of workers, and there's a spot for you. There's something that you can contribute to Canadian society, contribute to the Canadian job market, and this will eventually give you permanent residency in Canada. Just to say how we work a little bit as a law firm in terms of your immigration process, we work on a two-step process. Okay, the first step is knowing your eligibility. We take in your documents, take in your information. You're gonna have a phone call with me as well. We're gonna discuss a little bit about your immigration process. I'm gonna take in your information, your qualifications, and everything. And within a couple of days, we will send you an eligibility report that will detail exactly what programs and immigration pathways you are eligible for. Okay, this is the most important step of your immigration process because there is no use of starting to go online, search on Google, what can I do in Canada? How can I come to Canada? You will be online forever and you will not know at the end of the day what you are eligible for. It's important to hire a lawyer, hire a professional that will tell you what your options are. It's possible you don't have options to come to Canada, but at least you know what your options are and you don't need to start searching everywhere on what you can do, what you need to do, how you can do it, and then at the end of the day it's just confusing. Hire a professional. Our first step is to tell you what you're eligible for, and our second step is to start the process. That means explain to you what you can apply for, explain to you the advantages, disadvantages, the cost, the delays, the chance of success, everything you need to know. Then together we will choose the best option available for you and we will begin. That is the second step of the process. But the first step is the most important because you will know exactly what you can apply for. I will start answering questions in the chat. I just wanted to send the link to what you just saw as well. But I'll start answering questions in the chat. As I said, if you have any questions, please write them in the chat and I will go through all of them. I will just send the link in the chat for you guys. Okay, great. So let's begin. Due to most online scam recently, how can you not be free of scam? Okay, so I spoke about a little bit about the scams and everything. If you have a specific question, maybe I wasn't clear, write in the chat and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you for highlighting the process to verify your office. How can we verify that you are Joseph for real? You could verify, it is specifically for me. You can see my phone number on the Bar Association's website. You can send me a message on WhatsApp there and you can speak to me directly. So you can ask about the webinar or whatever it is and you can speak to me directly. The phone number and the address and everything and my website as well. That is on the Bar Association's website. That means when I showed you how to find me as a lawyer, you could find my personal information and you could contact us directly. So if it wasn't me here, the person that you contact won't know about this webinar. So if you send me a message, I will tell you, yes, we had a webinar, you asked a question or whatever it is, and that's how you can know that it is me. Mr. Joseph, please, I would like to know if I have only a degree, how can you help me immigrate? I have good work experience as well. Great. If you have work experience and you have a degree, in general, you have options on how you can come to Canada. It's difficult for me in general to give a specific pathway on how you're going to come without knowing who you are. That's why we do the first step of the process. That's why we do the eligibility to know exactly what you can apply for. So I need to see your qualifications, your experiences, your CV, whatever it may be. I need to see all of that. And once I see all of that, I'll be able to tell you with your report how you can come to Canada. Is it possible to help me out for the care route from the UK? I have care certificates and I have year experience. I don't have a job offer. Can you help me get job offer on the rest of it? So we are not a recruitment agency. We do not offer job offers to people. If anyone calls you and gives you a job offer, it is a scam. Okay, if anyone calls you and says I have a job for you, it is usually a scam. You should watch out. Okay, the majority of people, that's what they want, but that's not how immigration to Canada works. You need to find out first what you are eligible for. Our job is to get you a visa. Once you have a visa, then we can help you find a job. But we cannot find you a job right off the bat. Nobody can do that. So if anyone tells you they can do that, that's wrong. If we come as a visitor, how can we meet employers when the first thing they ask is whether we have a work permit? Obviously, if you come as a visitor, you're going to have some sort of connection or some sort of whether it's family or friends or whatever it may be, or you need to just show up. You need to take it upon yourself, show up physically yourself to a company and speak to them directly. If you're confident enough and you know that you can help them and you could be a good addition to their team, speak to them directly, show up, don't call them on the phone, don't send them an email, they probably won't answer. Pop into their office, they'll meet you, look presentable, and if they're interested, they will hire you. Everybody, it's important to understand that when an employer hires you, it is more advantageous to them than it is for you. They need people. It's very difficult in Canada. People always leave jobs and come back, and people lose employers. Everybody's missing employees. So it's more advantageous to them. They just need to be convinced, and you need to convince them. We can also help you convince them. If you find an employer that is interested in hiring you, you can send us a message. We could contact them. We could speak to them as well. And we can explain to them the process and help you in that sense of convincing them to hire you and start the process to hire you as well. Which is the right immigration program for me and why? How long does our retainer last? I don't know anything about you, so I'm not able to answer that question. What is the process duration for the visitor visa? The process depends on where you're applying from, but it could be from a month to a year. It depends where you're applying from, or it depends your immigration status and where you're applying from. It depends on several different things. When we write the eligibility report, we'll be able to tell you exactly how long it's going to take. How to apply heavy dump truck drivers, sir? Hey, Rebibo. Can a bachelor student bring dependents, foster child, a nursing pharmacy student can bring even their bachelor student? Is that true? Can bring even if they're a bachelor student? Yes. So, Canada is a very family-oriented country. That means that in Canada, if you are the main applicant, you can always bring your family with you. Always. That means if you are the main applicant that is approved, your family is coming with you. That's for sure. We are not like other countries where families split up or whatever it may be. The whole point of immigration to Canada is that we want family. We want families to come to Canada. We want families to come together to Canada. We do not separate families here. So the advantage of immigration to Canada in general also is that we are anybody that is coming as a family, the main applicant, once the main applicant gets approved, the rest of the family is able to come with them. That is not an issue at all. It's a nice picture. A lot of nice pictures. It's a lot of nice pictures. So how do you help a person find a job? As I said, you need to be able to have a visa in Canada for us to help you find a job. We have connections in terms of jobs. We don't have connections. We're not a recruitment agency. First of all, it's illegal for us to tell you that we have a job for you and that's how you're going to come to Canada. First, we need to find you the pathway on how you're going to get a visa to Canada, and then we're able to help you find a job once you have that visa. Now, if you want to go on your own route and find a job yourself, you're able to do that, and we're able to do the process of getting the work permit for you. That is possible. But we are not a recruitment agency. We are a law firm, and our job is to help you. That doesn't mean that we don't do something that other people do. As I said before, if someone calls you and says they have a job for you, it is a scam. That is for sure. Also, Mr. Joseph, I have an agency here. Can we throw our jobs to you so that you can assist our client temporary visa? Myself, I have a tourist visa as well. I'm not exactly 100% sure what you're referring to, but I'm gonna write my email in the chat. You can contact me directly. You can send me an email, explain me the situation, and I will answer you today for sure. Okay, so you can send me an email. Anybody can send me an email if you have any questions. You want to confirm that the person you're talking to is working with us, whatever it may be, you could send me an email. I will answer you, of course. Can you please explain the process after the initial process of finding out what we can apply for? For instance, I'm a CPA and I have a visitor visa, but how can you help me get a work permit? Again, we have to see what you're eligible for. I don't know what type of work permit you're eligible for, what type of program you're eligible for. Once you start the process, you send your documents. We have a call. I take in all your information. We send you an eligibility report, and the eligibility report will outline all the programs that you are eligible for. Okay, once we know what programs you are eligible for, that's when I can tell you, okay, you want to come to Canada as a visitor, this is how we will find you a job, or this is how we will do this for you. Once you have your visa, this is how we will do this for you. And this is how long it's going to take, and this are the steps that are going to get there, and this is how long it's going to take for you to get permanent residency as well. Okay. Where can we check prices of your services? I couldn't find from your website. So when you're speaking to someone, if you go on our website, you go to eligibility fee agreement, you'll be able to find the price. Okay, the only price that is listed on our website is the first step of the process of finding out what you're eligible for, consultation with me, sending in your documents, opening up your file, and finding out what you're eligible for and getting an eligibility report. The second step of the process, we do not have our fees online because number one, we can't. It doesn't make sense. The second step of the process depends on the amount of work that we are doing on your file. It depends on the program. So even if, let's say, 2 people apply for a student visa, it's not going to be the same fees necessarily for the 2 different type of people. It depends on their situation. It depends how much work we have to put in. It depends on all these things. We charge based on the amount of work that we're doing. Okay, that's why we're not an agency or a company. Agency or company will tell you, okay, it's $7,000 for a study permit. They're just doing that because they know that if they charge $7,000, they're going to make money because that is the highest amount of money they can charge because they're going to pass on the job to someone else. We will charge you based on how much work we know it's going to take for us to help you and achieve your goal and to bring you to Canada. So that's why I'm not able to tell you the exact price, but once you start the first process, you get the eligibility report, you will get the price right on our second call. I'm interested to apply Canada, sir. I work in Malta. I'm in the UK. Please, how long will it take for my visa to be approved? It depends. First, you have to go on. You can go on Google and type in IRCC visa delays, and you could search there. You choose your country, and you could find out exactly how long it's going to take for your visa to get an answer. After I come to Canada as a visitor, can I extend my visitor for 6 months to find a job? Yes. If you need help extending a visitor visa, we can help you with that. That's not an issue. Normally, that's not an issue at all. If you're in Canada as a visitor, as long as you have money, that means you have money to live and sustain yourself as a visitor. You could extend your visitor visa to be able to stay in Canada and to eventually find a job. But if you're in Canada and it's soon expiring and you find a job and we apply, you are able, under the law of maintained status in Canada, you're able to stay in Canada even if your application is not yet dealt with. That means if you're in the middle, that means you apply for something and you're still waiting, you are allowed to stay in Canada legally. It's not a problem. It's called maintained status, and you are good to wait until you receive a response from the government. Where are you based? I'm coming to Toronto. So we're in Quebec. We're in Montreal and Quebec, about 4-hour drive from Toronto. Not so far. Quebec is a very nice province. If you want to come visit us, feel free. It's very cool, very nice province, little European as well. So it could be interesting. How much does one need to apply for a visa? All different types of visas is different, very difficult to say. Start your process and we'll be able to tell you exactly what everything is, what every different type of program costs. Everything will be very clear, that I can assure you. Can my children go to school while I'm waiting for a job? No, your children cannot go to school while you're waiting for a job. You need to have a status, either a work or study or permanent residency visa for your children to study under you in Canada, because children are able to go to public school for free, and the only way they're able to go for free is if you have status in Canada, obviously a status besides visitor visa status. Okay. Any other questions in the chat, or else we will wrap up. I sent my email in the chat. I sent a couple of links as well. As I said, if you have any questions or anything at all, please let me know. I am here to answer your questions, of course. So bachelor student can bring dependents, as you said. However, if it was announced for March 18, 2024, bachelor students cannot bring spouses, or I'm confusing. Yes, you are being confused. Of course, you can bring your spouses. What they announced on March is that the spouses for now are not getting work permits. Of course, they can come with you. That's not an issue. They are not getting work permits right now. That will eventually change, I believe. I think that was just a temporary thing because of all the fraud that was happening last year with students and everything that was going on. I think it's a temporary thing, but eventually it'll change back. But of course, you can always bring your family with you to Canada. Unless something drastically changes in the Canadian government, I don't believe that will ever change. I will send email again. All right, I hope that this was a very helpful webinar for the majority of you. I hope I was able to answer a lot of the questions. It's very important that you understand that immigration to Canada is it's on the rise right now. It's very important because the Canadian government is currently still the Liberal government, run by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He is a government, they've always been a government that is very pro-immigration. That could change at any time, so it's important to be able to start your immigration process as soon as possible. At least you know what you can apply for. At least you know what program you can start. You can prepare yourself for it. Even if you don't have the means at this moment to apply, you don't have the means at this moment to come to Canada this second, it's important to at least start, see what you can apply for, begin the process if you're able to. And when you're able to come to Canada, when you have the means, anyways, the process takes time. When you have the means to come to Canada, visa that you can take as at least the visa is ready for you and you're able to take the visa and go. It's worse than waiting for you to be able to come to Canada, than waiting another 6 months or another year to get the approval, and a lot of things change in 6 months or a year. So if this is something that you know you want to do, start your process as soon as possible. We are here to help. We're here to answer all your questions. I am here as well. We have several people working for us that is really great people. They're able to answer all your questions. If you need something from me as well, you can always send me an email, and we're here to help. I will send also the link to the bar. I will send that right now, so you're able to have that, which is very important. And yeah, we're gonna try to do webinars every week or two, or sort of like that. If there are specific things that you want me to talk about in the webinar, send me an email or send a message on the chat as well. I will try to next week or the week after speak about that specific thing. We did a little general overview about immigration to Canada, but I will try to do that in the future webinars as well. Thank you so much. Any age limit to enter university? No, there's no age limit. Of course, the older you are, the harder maybe it is to get a letter of admission, but there is no age limit for university. Thank you everyone for participating, for joining us. It was a pleasure, and I hope to see everyone in Canada as soon as possible. Thank you, and have a great week.